The moon was a razor slicing through the sky, and I felt it in my bones before I saw it. The forest whispered of challenges I hadn't yet named, of wolves circling far beyond my sight, and yet, someone, was coming. My muscles tensed. My claws itched beneath my skin. I could smell her before I saw her. Her scent, fire and defiance. A threat wrapped in silk, a storm wrapped in human skin. And just like that, everything changed. The Alpha's throne room felt impossibly empty despite the guards lining the walls. Shadows flickered along the stone like they had secrets of their own. I stepped forward. Every instinct screamed warning. And then her gaze met mine, eyes blazing, chest heaving. She did not bow. She did not kneel. She stared, full of fury and something I had never expected, unshakable pride. I should have been angry. I should have commanded her down. But instead, my heart thudded, like a wild drum. And the pack held its breath. I knew, even then, that she was going to change everything. My world. My pack. My life. And I wasn't sure I was ready. Chapter 1, The Summoning. Next, I heard her footsteps before I saw them, quick, measured, deliberate. Sera Vale, the name already carved into my mind before she entered the room. Moments later, she appeared, shoulders squared, chin high, defiance burning in her gaze. "Kaelen," she said, voice steady despite the faint tremor I caught only in the echo of her presence. "You summoned me." "Yes," I replied, though I could feel every muscle coiling beneath my skin, every nerve screaming at me to test her, push her, make her kneel. "Step closer." Her eyes narrowed. "I am not here to kneel." The words hit me with the force of a storm. I froze. Not because of defiance, it wasn't uncommon, but because of the audacity, the fire, the undeniable strength in her voice. And her scent, it stirred something primal I hadn't felt in years. Still, I kept my tone steady, commanding. "You are here because you are meant to serve." "I serve no one who underestimates me," she said. The pack murmured behind us. Tension crackled like lightning. And just like that, my entire plan, my perfectly controlled throne room, threatened to collapse. I watched her, studied every subtle twitch, every shift of weight, every flash of hesitation she tried, and failed, to hide. Yet, despite her challenge, I could see it, she wanted approval. She wanted power. And she would fight for it. That night, I felt the first spark of something I didn't want to name. Desire. Fear. Rivalry. Something that blurred lines I had sworn never to blur again. "Approach," I said, forcing authority back into my voice. She stepped closer. I smelled her heart pounding beneath her ribs, tasted her resolve in the air. And then she did something I had not expected. She extended her hand. Not in submission, but as if offering a challenge. A growl rose in my throat. And it wasn't fully human. By the time she stopped just a breath away, I knew the truth. This was not going to be easy. And neither of us would leave unchanged. Because of that, the first rule of my throne shattered before I even fully realized it: she would not bow. She would not break. And, truth be told, neither could I. Chapter 2, The Second Luna. Soon after, the doors behind her creaked again. Another figure stepped in. Lyra Thorne. The second Luna. Confidence radiated off her like heat from molten stone. She smiled, knowingly, almost cruelly, as if she had expected Sera's defiance. "Kaelen," Lyra said, voice soft but edged with power. "I see you brought the new Luna to meet me." My jaw tightened. My instinct screamed at me to separate them, to assert control. And yet, there was something about their dynamic, something dangerous and enticing. Sparks flew, not from magic, but from tension. Rivalry. And perhaps, something else. Sera stiffened. Lyra didn't bow. She didn't flinch. And my pulse, long thought steady, accelerated. At the same time, I had to assess the risks. My pack's stability, my authority, even my life, now depended on managing two Lunas who refused to kneel and refused to yield to one another. "You will share my quarters," I commanded, voice hard, low, resonant. "And my attention." Sera's lips pressed into a thin line. Lyra's eyes sparkled with amusement. Neither seemed afraid. And that, I realized, was a problem. A huge, burning, delicious problem. Moments later, I realized this was more than rivalry. This was a test. A challenge. A trap. A temptation. And deep down, I knew the pack's future, and my heart, might depend on who survived it. Chapter 3: The Throne Room Tension. That night, as moonlight slanted through the high windows, the air thickened with unspoken words. Sera's presence hovered near, almost daring me to touch, command, or forbid her. Lyra leaned against the opposite wall, calm, confident, dangerous. Between one breath and the next, the room felt like a battlefield. My instincts told me to dominate, to assert control. Yet, every glance toward Sera ignited something I didn't want to feel. And Lyra's calm, teasing gaze only inflamed my curiosity. Without warning, Sera stepped forward. "Kaelen," she said. "I need to know, will you lead, or will you rule through fear?" The question cut through me like a knife. My wolf stirred, my pulse raced, and I realized, control was slipping. I looked at Lyra, then back at Sera, and felt the impossible truth: I could not command one without affecting the other. I could not protect one without provoking the other. And yet, I could not resist either. The tension broke as a guard entered, whispering a warning of approaching threats on the eastern borders. A reminder that power was never stagnant, and no alpha, no matter how strong, could ignore it. As fire bloomed beneath my skin, I knew one thing: this was only the beginning. And by the time the sun rose, nothing in my world would remain the same. Chapter 4: The Pack's Challenge. Next, the first rays of sunlight crept through the high windows, and the throne room was already buzzing with tension. The pack murmured, low growls mingling with whispered speculations. Kaelen stood at the center, eyes scanning the room, instincts sharp, muscles coiled beneath his leather tunic. Sera moved closer, her boots echoing on stone, and Lyra followed, quiet, poised, dangerous. Both Lunas refused to kneel, refused to back down, and the pack could feel the storm brewing. "You will face the trial tonight," Kaelen announced, voice low but carrying over the murmurs. "It will test loyalty, strength, and cunning." Sera's brow furrowed. "A trial? Against whom?" "You against the pack," he replied. "Against me." The air thickened. The silence roared in their ears. The pack shifted, restless, sensing the stakes, feeling the electricity crackling between the Alpha and the defiant Luna. Moments later, Kaelen stepped closer to Sera. His scent, wild, commanding, filled her senses. "This trial is not just for power. It is for survival. If you fail, the consequences will be yours alone." Sera's chest rose and fell with determination. "Then I will not fail," she whispered, voice trembling with both fear and fire. Lyra's lips curved into a smirk. "She should know, Kaelen," she said, voice teasing, yet edged with warning, "this is not just a test of strength, it's a test of trust." And just like that, the rules of the trial became unclear. Kaelen's gaze softened, briefly, and his wolf stirred, sensing the tension, the anticipation, the unspoken desire. The trial began as the sun sank beneath the horizon. The forest surrounding the estate became a living creature, whispers in the wind, branches clawing at the sky, shadows twisting like they had minds of their own. Sera's pulse raced. She could hear the pack, feel their hunger and curiosity. And yet, her focus remained on Kaelen, whose golden eyes glowed faintly in the twilight, almost feral. As fire bloomed beneath her skin, she realized that survival was not only physical, it was emotional. She needed to read him, anticipate his moves, understand his dominance without losing herself. The trial turned brutal quickly. Kaelen pitted her against both natural obstacles and the pack's fiercest fighters. She ducked, dodged, lunged, and every movement was a dance of strategy, strength, and intuition. Her body moved on instinct, guided by adrenaline and the whispers of her own wolf. Between one breath and the next, she felt the bond pulsing, a connection she couldn't ignore, even as her mind screamed to resist it. Kaelen's presence pressed against her senses, and every step he took was a reminder he could destroy her, or claim her. By the time the moon rose fully, Sera stood bloodied, exhausted, yet victorious. Kaelen's chest heaved with pride, masked by authority. The pack held, acknowledging her skill, her strength, and her unyielding spirit. As the forest held its breath, Kaelen stepped forward. "You have passed, for now." His words were soft, almost a growl, almost a whisper. "But do not think this ends here." Sera met his gaze, golden eyes reflecting moonlight and fire. "I don't expect it to." And just like that, the trial became more than a test of power, it became the beginning of something neither of them could fully control. Chapter 5: The Storm Within. Soon after, a violent storm tore through the estate, winds rattling windows, rain slicing like knives against stone. Kaelen moved through the halls with practiced ease, senses heightened, wolf prowling beneath his skin. Sera followed, soaked, shivering, yet defiant. "Kaelen," she called, voice barely audible over the thunder, "why push me so hard?" He stopped, rain dripping from his hair, eyes locked on hers. "Because strength alone is not enough, because survival requires trust and desire." Her breath caught. "Desire?" "Yes." His voice dropped, low, raw. "Even the strongest Luna feels it when the Alpha tests her limits." Moments later, the wind shifted, and they were alone in the abandoned training hall. The storm's fury outside mirrored the storm between them. Sera's body trembled, not from cold, but from the pull she felt toward him, the tension, the danger. Without warning, Kaelen closed the distance. Their hands brushed, then pressed together, tentative yet electric. She gasped, heart hammering. "You shouldn't." "Shouldn't?" His voice was a growl. "My rules, my trial, my desire." Her lips parted, indecision and longing warring within her. And then, as if fate demanded it, their bodies collided, pressed together, breath mingling, hearts racing in sync. Yet, despite the closeness, danger loomed. A howl in the distance, another pack, a rogue, testing borders, reminded them both that their world was never safe. As her wolf stirred, Sera realized something terrifying and thrilling: she could not resist him, even if survival demanded it. Every nerve, every instinct screamed for him. By the time the storm subsided, they stood apart, soaked, hearts racing, and fully aware of the unspoken bond forming between them, intense, forbidden, unstoppable. Chapter 6: Secrets in the Shadows. That night, shadows danced along the walls as Kaelen returned to his quarters. Sera followed, curious, cautious, her body still tingling from the storm. "I need to know the truth," she said, voice soft. "About you, about the pack, about why Lyra is here." Kaelen's jaw tightened. "Some truths are dangerous," he said, voice low, almost a growl. "Some truths can destroy everything." She stepped closer, eyes searching his. "Then tell me." "I can handle it." And just like that, a story unfolded, secrets of betrayal, shifter rivalries, murders, and power struggles stretching centuries. Lyra's arrival was part of a plan far larger than Sera realized. And Kaelen, he was torn between protecting his pack and protecting the Luna who refused to kneel. As the night deepened, Sera realized that nothing about this world was simple. Nothing about him was simple. And yet, she could not turn away. Chapter 7: The Hidden Threat. Next, dawn crept slowly through the forest, golden light spilling over the treetops, painting everything in an eerie calm. Sera moved silently along the ridge, senses alert, wolf stirring beneath her skin. Something was off. She could feel it, like a shadow brushing the edges of her mind. Kaelen appeared suddenly from the trees, his eyes sharp, muscles tense. "You shouldn't be out here alone," he said, voice low, commanding, yet threaded with concern. I could say the same about you, Sera replied, breath catching from exertion. Something's coming. I can feel it. Before either could speak further, a howl echoed through the valley, a warning, primal and urgent. The pack's instincts flared, fur bristling, teeth bared. Kaelen's jaw tightened. It's not just any rogue, it's a hunter. Sera's pulse spiked. A hunter? Yes. One who knows our weaknesses, knows me. His voice dropped to a whisper, almost a growl. And they're coming for both of us. Moments later, the trees shook with movement. Shadows darted between trunks, silent, deadly, precise. Kaelen stepped in front of Sera, wolf pressing forward beneath his skin, growling low and warning. Stay behind me, he ordered. No matter what. But Sera's instincts refused to obey. Her wolf surged, her body moving on its own, agile and fast. She dodged, leapt, attacked, precision born of raw necessity. Kaelen fought beside her, each movement a dance of survival, strength, and instinctual coordination. Between one breath and the next, she realized how deeply they were linked, not just in battle, but in the unspoken, untamed bond growing between them. Her chest ached with adrenaline and something more, something dangerous. Desire. By the time the last shadow fled, both were bruised, bleeding, hearts pounding. Kaelen's eyes softened for a fleeting moment as he studied her. You're stronger than I realized, and reckless, he murmured, brushing a strand of wet hair from her face. Sera met his gaze, golden eyes glinting. Maybe it's fate, or maybe it's just who I am. Kaelen didn't answer. He only pressed closer, scent mingling, wolf and human melding. The forest held its breath, the threat gone, but tension crackled like fire between them, an ember that could ignite at any moment. And just like that, danger became intimacy. Chapter 8, Forbidden Desire. Soon after, they returned to the estate, bruised but alive. Kaelen's quarters offered privacy, but Sera sensed the unspoken rules, the thin line between control and surrender. You should rest, Kaelen said, voice low, roughened with emotion. You're hurt, and exhausted. She shook her head, chest rising with heavy breaths. I can't, not yet. There's too much at stake. Kaelen stepped closer, the scent of rain and adrenaline clinging to him. And yet, you risk everything for curiosity and defiance. Sera swallowed. Maybe I'm afraid of not knowing the truth. About you, about the pack. Her words hung between them. The space thickened with unspoken emotions. His golden eyes softened, the wolf pressed forward beneath the surface, dangerous yet tender. Without thinking, she closed the distance. Hands brushed, heat igniting between them. Kaelen's lips hovered near hers, breaths mingling, a slow, electric pull drawing them together. Her heart skipped. Kaelen, we shouldn't. Shouldn't, he whispered, voice thick with tension. Since when did rules matter, when everything inside me screams for you? The first touch ignited a wildfire. Hands tangled, hearts racing, breaths shallow and desperate. Every movement was charged, primal. And yet, despite the passion, a shadow lingered, a whisper of danger, a reminder that trust here could mean vulnerability and betrayal. That night, their bond deepened, not just physically, but emotionally. Secrets were shared in murmurs, breaths, touches, creating a connection neither could deny. And in the quiet, a question hung: could desire survive when the pack's enemies drew closer? Chapter 9, The Betrayal. Before she could rest, news arrived: Lyra had disappeared. Panic surged through the pack. Kaelen's jaw tightened, eyes blazing with anger and worry. Sera's pulse raced. Do you think it's the hunter again? Kaelen shook his head, voice low and deadly. No, worse. Someone inside the pack. The betrayal cut deep. Trust shattered like glass. Sera's wolf growled, sensing the danger, sensing the deception lurking where it shouldn't be. As shadows twisted in the forest, Kaelen and Sera moved through the estate, hunting, questioning, uncovering whispers of disloyalty, lies, and greed. Each revelation tore open old wounds, each discovery pulling them closer, forced together by danger, desire, and the necessity of survival. And just like that, the world they had begun to trust crumbled, leaving only their bond, and a question that neither dared to answer: who could they truly rely on, and what price would they pay for the truth? Chapter 10: The Shattering Truth. Next, the moon hung heavy over the estate, silver light spilling through the broken treetops. Sera's heart pounded as she crept through the shadows, senses screaming. Something was wrong. Her wolf stirred, pressing against her, growling low in warning. Kaelen appeared silently, eyes blazing gold in the moonlight. "I feared this," he muttered, jaw tight, muscles coiled like spring-loaded steel. "The traitor has made their move." Sera's pulse spiked. "Lyra?" Kaelen shook his head. "No, worse. Someone we trusted. Someone close." His voice dropped to a whisper, almost a growl. "They've taken her, to lure me out." Without warning, Sera felt the forest shift, the wind carried danger. Shadows moved unnaturally, every leaf trembling, every branch poised. The insider's betrayal cut sharper than a blade. "Kaelen," she whispered, voice trembling. "We can't." He pressed a hand to her arm, eyes burning with both warning and desire. "We must. No one else can save her. No one else can survive this." The forest held its breath as they raced through the trees, wolf instincts guiding them, bodies moving with unmatched precision. Branches tore at skin, leaves whipped at faces, but they didn't falter. The closer they got, the more intense the tension became, not just fear, but the ache between them. Every glance, every brush of skin, every shared breath ignited desire, even in the shadow of death. Soon after, they arrived at the hidden clearing, a cage, Lyra inside, eyes wide with fear, trembling. The traitor stepped forward, a sly smile twisting their features. "Thought you'd be faster, Alpha." Kaelen's wolf pressed forward, teeth bared, muscles coiling. Sera's wolf joined, heart racing, instincts flaring. "You'll pay for this," Kaelen growled. The fight erupted, claws, teeth, and sheer adrenaline. Sera moved beside Kaelen, body flowing with the rhythm of battle, senses sharp, mind alive. Every strike, every dodge, every growl fused danger with intimacy. By the time the last blow landed, the traitor lay defeated, their deception revealed, the forest eerily silent. Kaelen pulled Sera close, golden eyes locked on hers. "You're incredible, brave, reckless, perfect." Sera's chest ached, not just from exertion, but from desire, from relief, from the tension that had bound them together. Their lips met in a fierce, desperate kiss, wolf and human, desire and passion, all consuming in the shadow of victory. Chapter 11: Secrets Unveiled. Eventually, back at the estate, Kaelen revealed the truth he had kept hidden, the pack's true history, the curse that bound them, and his own painful past. His voice trembled as he spoke, yet firm, resolute. "I protected the pack for years," he admitted, "but there's a part of me I've never shared. A wolf that doesn't just protect, it consumes, it demands, it loves fiercely, and only once." Sera's breath caught. "You mean, me?" He nodded, gaze intense. "Yes, and now you know. The bond is more than instinct. It's fate, survival, and love." Without thinking, Sera pressed closer, hands brushing his chest. "Then I'm yours," she whispered. "All of me." The tension broke, not with words, but with a shared, primal, all-consuming kiss. Lips pressed, teeth grazing, breaths mingling. Her wolf surged, pressing forward, responding to his call. Every nerve on fire, every heartbeat synced with his. Moments later, they collapsed together on the forest floor, exhausted but exhilarated. They shared secrets, fears, and desires in the quiet, intimate glow of moonlight. Their connection deepened beyond words, soul to soul, wolf to wolf. Yet even in the quiet, questions lingered. Would the pack accept their bond? Could they survive the danger that still loomed? Chapter 12, The Alpha's Choice. Before dawn, the final challenge came, the rival shifter pack, drawn by the traitor's earlier betrayal. The battle was inevitable. Sera and Kaelen stood together, wolves pressed close beneath their skins, eyes locked. The fight was brutal, claws tore, teeth snapped, raw power unleashed in a storm of fury and fire. Through the chaos, Kaelen protected Sera, guiding her, their bodies moving in unison, hearts pounding, breaths ragged. The bond they had forged became their strength, their love, their fire, their weapon. By the time the final enemy fell, the forest was silent again, blood and sweat mingling with the scent of rain and victory. Kaelen held Sera close, lips brushing her temple. "We did it, together." She smiled through exhaustion, heart soaring. "Together, always." And just like that, the pack rallied around them, accepting their bond, their power, their love. The secrets, the betrayals, and the battles had tested them, but had also solidified their unbreakable connection. Chapter 13, Homecoming. That night, the moon cast a silver glow over the pack's estate, reflecting on the still waters of the hidden lake. Sera stood at the edge, her hands pressed against the smooth bark of a tree, letting the coolness ground her. She could feel the rhythm of the pack around her, hearts beating in tandem with her own. Kaelen approached silently, footsteps barely a whisper on the soft forest floor. "You look at peace," he murmured, his voice low, warm, carrying that familiar rumble of authority and desire. Sera turned, golden eyes meeting his. "I feel alive. Stronger than I ever imagined," she whispered, her voice trembling with both awe and relief. "And it's because of you, because of us." He closed the distance, the air thick with unspoken words and lingering tension. With a single glance, Kaelen pulled her into his arms, lips brushing her temple, lingering there as if memorizing every curve, every heartbeat. "We survived," he said. "Together, always." Even so, a shiver of worry ran through her. What about the pack, the world outside? Kaelen chuckled softly, eyes gleaming. "We'll face it. Together. Nothing will break this bond, not now, not ever." The moonlight danced across their entwined forms, highlighting the fire that burned between them, a bond forged through survival, passion, and unshakable trust. And for the first time, Sera allowed herself to truly believe in a future where love and danger coexisted, balanced like the shifting phases of the moon. Chapter 14, Bond Forged in Fire. Soon after, the pack gathered around the central clearing. Elders, warriors, and newly sworn members watched as Kaelen and Sera stepped forward, hands clasped, hearts open. Their bond had been tested by betrayal, battle, and the raw intensity of their wolf natures, and it had emerged stronger, unbreakable. Kaelen spoke, voice ringing clear through the night air. "Our strength lies not only in power but in trust, love, and unity. Sera has stood by me through fire, through shadow, and through heartache, and she has proven herself worthy of the bond we share." Sera's pulse raced. The pack's murmurs filled the air, respect, curiosity, awe. She felt the wolf within her press closer to Kaelen's, their energies intertwining like the roots of the forest. Her heart swelled, a mix of pride, fear, and raw desire. By the time the ceremony ended, Kaelen had pulled her close, lips meeting hers in a kiss that was both claim and promise. Every heartbeat, every breath, every shiver of fur and skin, bound them together. "Forever," Kaelen whispered against her lips. "Forever," Sera echoed, knowing it was more than a word, it was a vow, a pact, a destiny. Chapter 15, Dawn of the Future. As dawn broke, the first golden rays of sunlight pierced the treetops, bathing the clearing in warmth. Sera and Kaelen walked side by side, the pack following, their shadows stretching long and strong. Moments later, Sera felt the tiny stir of new life within her, a spark of hope and continuity. Her hand brushed her belly, and she looked at Kaelen, eyes shining with wonder. "We've survived, and now?" Kaelen's hand covered hers, pressing against the small curve of new life. "And now we build a future of love, strength, and family. Our pack, our home, our legacy." As they stepped into the clearing, the wind carried whispers of promise, of new adventures, and of a world that would always test them, but never break them. Their hearts beat as one, human and wolf intertwined, ready to face whatever came next. That night, under the full moon, their souls met in fire and desire, their love solidified in the shadows of danger and the light of hope. They had survived, they had conquered, and they had discovered that the greatest power of all lay not in strength or claws, but in the bond of hearts unyielding, in the fire of passion, and in the courage to love fully, even when the world demanded otherwise. And just like that, their story, fierce and eternal, began anew. Chapter 16, Shadows in the Moonlight. Even so, the night wasn't as peaceful as it seemed. The full moon glimmered silver across the clearing, yet shadows stretched longer than they should have. Sera felt at first, a ripple in the air, a subtle unease that prickled her senses. Kaelen's gaze swept the tree-lean, golden eyes narrowing. Something's out there, his voice was low, cautious, carrying that growl that always sent a shiver down her spine. Without warning, the bushes rustled, and a figure emerged, a stranger, tall, cloaked in dark leather, eyes cold as ice. Kaelen, the voice was smooth, deliberate. "We meet again." Sera's wolf growled low in her chest, sensing danger before her mind could catch up. "Who is he?" she whispered, her pulse racing. Kaelen's jaw tightened. "A hunter, or worse. Someone who knows too much." The stranger smiled, unnerving in its calmness. "I know your secrets, Alpha. And I know hers." His gaze flicked toward Sera, and the wind carried a chill that made her skin prickle. By the time he vanished into the shadows, a question lingered in the air, heavier than the moonlight: who, or what, was watching them? And why now? Sera pressed close to Kaelen, letting the warmth of his body and the steady rhythm of his heart soothe the panic rising in her chest. "We can handle this," he whispered, lips brushing her hairline. "Together." And just like that, their peaceful night was shattered, leaving only the tension of the unknown. Chapter 17, The Hunt Begins. Soon after, Kaelen called a pack meeting. The clearing buzzed with murmurs of concern and curiosity. Warriors, scouts, and elders waited as he spoke. "We are not alone. Someone is watching. Someone knows more than they should." Sera's heart thumped violently. Her wolf pressed closer to Kaelen's side, instinct screaming. "We can't let this threaten our pack, or our family," she said, voice firm despite the tremor of fear. Kaelen nodded, eyes blazing. "We'll hunt them first, before they strike. And we'll protect what's ours." Moments later, they began preparations. Weapons were sharpened, scents masked, scouts sent to shadow the perimeter. Sera worked alongside Kaelen, feeling the thrill of adrenaline, the surge of desire, and the pulse of danger intertwining. At the same time, she noticed Kaelen watching her, his gaze burning with possessiveness and pride. "Stay close," he murmured, as if reading her thoughts. "You're mine, and mine alone." Yet despite the urgency, a fire kindled between them. In the quiet moments, in a brush of fingers or the press of a body against hers, the world melted away. Danger heightened desire, and desire sharpened their focus, each heartbeat a tether, each glance a spark. Chapter 18, Secrets Unveiled. Before either could speak, Sera stumbled upon a hidden cache, documents, symbols, and a strange pendant that thrummed with power. Her heart raced. "Kaelen, look at this," she called, holding it up. Kaelen approached, his brow furrowing. "These aren't ordinary threats. This is bigger than a hunter, bigger than any enemy we've faced. Someone wants the pack, or you, for a reason." The pendant pulsed, almost alive, and Sera's wolf whimpered in recognition. "It's calling me," she whispered. "I can feel it, something ancient, powerful." Kaelen's hand brushed hers, grounding her. "Then we find out, together." That night, under the silver glow, they pored over the clues, discovering hidden alliances, betrayals, and a mysterious prophecy that seemed to link their fates. By the time the dawn broke, their world had expanded, new threats, new stakes, and an understanding that their love and bond would be tested like never before. Yet through it all, desire, trust, and passion remained their unbreakable shield. Chapter 19: The Midnight Siege. Without warning, the night erupted in chaos. Shadows surged from the forest edge, hunters, cloaked in black, armed with silver-tipped weapons. The moonlight glinted off their blades, and the air thickened with tension. Kaelen growled low, golden eyes blazing. "To your positions," he commanded, his voice a thunderclap in the silence. Sera's heart pounded. Her wolf surged, instincts flaring. "We fight. We survive. We protect our pack." She grabbed Kaelen's hand, and the heat of their touch ignited a fire beneath her skin. Moments later, the first clash began. Metal scraped against claw. Growls tore through the night. The scent of blood mingled with the forest's earthy perfume. Kaelen moved like a shadow, lethal and precise, while Sera followed, a blend of fury and fear propelling her forward. Even so, the enemy pressed, stronger than expected. One of them lunged at Sera, dagger aimed for her heart, but Kaelen intercepted, roaring. The impact sent him staggering, yet his golden eyes never wavered from hers. "Stay close," he hissed. "Don't let go." The tension broke with a series of snarls and crashing bodies. By the time the moon had shifted, the attackers had retreated, but their message was clear: they were being hunted, and the predator wasn't who they expected. Chapter 20: Prophecy's Edge. Soon after, Sera and Kaelen retreated to the safety of their hidden sanctuary. Their breaths came in ragged gasps, hearts hammering, sweat and blood mingling on their skin. Sera held the pendant close, its pulse steady against her chest. "It's calling me again," she whispered. "Kaelen. I think it's part of the prophecy. Something about us." Kaelen's fingers traced the line of her jaw, tilting her face up to meet his gaze. "Whatever it is, we face it together," he promised, voice low, molten with desire and determination. "You, me, the pack. We're unbreakable." And just like that, their bond deepened, every glance, every brush of skin, every whispered word layering desire atop trust. At the same time, the pendant flared, light spilling across the room. Symbols glowed, ancient and ominous. A vision flashed before Sera: wolves in chains, flames consuming the forest, and a shadowy figure standing over her with eyes like Kaelen's, but darker, colder. "What's worse," she murmured, trembling, "I think it's him. The one from the shadows. He's tied to the prophecy. To us." Kaelen's jaw tightened. "Then we finish this before it starts. Before anyone we love is hurt." Chapter 21: Fires of Desire and Danger. That night, while the pack slept, Kaelen and Sera trained under the moonlight. Claws and fangs met shadow and steel. The air thickened with the scent of sweat, the thrill of battle, and the heat of desire. Their bodies moved in sync, Kaelen's strength anchoring her, Sera's agility surprising even him. Each strike, each dodge, each shared glance carried unspoken messages: trust, hunger, and longing. Her pulse raced. With every heartbeat. "I'm his. And he's mine." And then, as if fate demanded it, a shadow moved behind them. Kaelen reacted instantly, spinning, claws extended. But it wasn't an enemy, it was a scout from their pack, breathless and wide-eyed. "They've taken him," the scout gasped. "The one from the prophecy, he's here. He has the other alphas." Sera's world tilted. Kaelen's jaw clenched, fury radiating in waves. "Then we go," he growled. "No hesitation. No mercy. We get them back." Between one breath and the next, their hands locked, eyes blazing, desire and resolve mingling. The danger was real. The stakes were life and death. But so was the passion that bound them, feral, untamed, unstoppable. Chapter 22: The Heart of the Storm. By the time they reached the enemy's stronghold, fire and smoke painted the night sky. Wolves were caged, the pack's howls echoing in their ears. Sera's wolf surged, growling and snapping, her body trembling with rage and adrenaline. Kaelen's hand found hers. "We do this together," he said, teeth gritted, eyes molten. One heartbeat, one fight, one everything. They struck with precision, shadow and claw tearing through steel and fear. Sparks flew as metal met fangs. Roars split the night. And then, in the chaos, Kaelen caught Sera against him, breath hot, lips brushing hers. "I can't lose you," he growled. Her voice trembled. "Then don't. Not ever." The fight raged, brutal and fierce, yet through it all, their connection burned brighter than any flame, stronger than any danger. As the night ended, bodies strewn and the enemy defeated, Kaelen and Sera stood amid the ruin, hearts pounding, breaths mingling, wolves quiet but present. They had survived, but the prophecy's shadow still loomed. Chapter 23, The Reckoning. As the sun rose, golden light pierced the smoke-choked sky. The remnants of the battle glimmered in its glow, twisted metal, scattered leaves, and the faint scent of charred earth. Sera's heart raced, her wolf restless beneath her skin. Kaelen knelt beside the last cage, his golden eyes scanning the remaining shadows. "We end this now," he growled, voice low, trembling with fury and determination. And just like that, everything changed. From the darkness, the shadowed figure of the prophecy stepped forward, tall, cold, and impossibly familiar. His eyes were Kaelen's, but twisted with malice and hunger. Sera's breath caught. "No, it can't be," she whispered. He smirked, a predator confident in his power. "It can, and it is." Kaelen's claws flexed, fangs gleaming. "You will pay for what you've done." Moments later, the battle reignited, faster, deadlier, and more desperate than before. Metal clashed with claws, teeth ripped through shadows, and every move pulsed with primal intent. Sera leapt, dodging, striking, her wolf answering her every instinct. At the same time, Kaelen fought with a precision and fury that left the enemy reeling. Each strike whispered promises, protection, dominance, and the unshakable bond he shared with Sera. Chapter 24, Fire and Moonlight. Soon after, Sera and Kaelen found themselves back to back, breathing ragged, eyes locking. "We finish this together," he growled. She nodded, heart pounding. Her wolf surged, feral, fierce, uncontainable. "This is it. We fight, or we die." With every heartbeat, the shadows fell away, revealing the traitor's weakness. Kaelen's teeth sank into flesh, Sera's claws tore through steel. And then, the final blow. The shadowed figure faltered, eyes widening, before collapsing into the ashes of his ambition. Sera fell against Kaelen, chest heaving. "Is it over?" she whispered. Kaelen pressed his forehead to hers, voice soft but charged. "It's over. Because of you, because of us, nothing can break this." The wind carried the echoes of victory through the forest. Wolves howled in celebration, their voices a chorus of freedom and triumph. Chapter 25, Bonds Forged in Fire. By the time they returned to the pack's sanctuary, the aftermath was clear. Injured wolves tended each other. Packs reunited. And in the heart of it all, Kaelen and Sera found a quiet moment, a space where only they existed. He cupped her face, eyes molten. "You were incredible. I couldn't have done this without you." She smiled, brushing a damp strand of hair from his forehead. "Neither could I, not without you." As the sun set, golden light draping them like a shroud, their lips met, slow, tender, and yet bursting with the pent-up desire that had burned through every danger and every shadow. The world melted around them. Chapter 26, The Prophecy Fulfilled. That night, under the full moon, the pendant glowed softly against Sera's chest. She felt the prophecy's energy settle, the ancient magic whispering its approval. Kaelen wrapped his arm around her, body warm, steady. The prophecy, it was never just about danger. It was about us. About trust. About love. About the pack surviving and thriving. Sera's fingers traced his jaw. Then we write the next chapter, together. And as if summoned by their bond, the pack gathered around, eyes shining with loyalty, hope, and reverence. The wolves pressed close, tails brushing, warmth and trust radiating. Between them, something shifted, feral, tender, eternal. Sera's wolf pressed forward, Kaelen's responded, and their souls answered each other. Her heart skipped. A beat later, fire bloomed beneath her skin. With every breath, every heartbeat, every step, they knew, love, survival, and destiny were theirs. And nothing could undo it. Chapter 27, Dawn of Forever. As dawn broke, the forest hummed with life and quiet triumph. Sera rested against Kaelen, eyes reflecting the first light. Their breaths synchronized, wolves at peace, hearts intertwined. Kaelen's fingers brushed hers, eyes softening. No matter what comes, we face it together. Her lips curved. Forever, she whispered. And just like that, everything changed. Their bond, tested by fire, shadow, and desire, had emerged stronger, untamed, and unbreakable. The world beyond could wait. For now, there was only them, their love, their pack, their destiny fulfilled under the silver glow of the moon.